Lion is the true story of a 5-year-old Indian boy named Saroo, separated from his family and carried alone across India by a train he wasn't supposed to be on. It took him 26 years to return to his mother and siblings. He spent the years in between in Australia, raised by the couple that adopted him from the streets, and wondering about the family he lost. Saroo Brierley is now 35 years old, and his story has taken him to the red carpet and inside the theater for tonight's Oscars. Saroo and I got together on the eve of the big night for our Sunday sit-down. Do you remember opening your eyes?
Yes, I just had the thought that my brother's going to be there somewhere, but he wasn't. There was nowhere to be seen.
Just 5 years old, Saroo was all alone. He'd begged his big brother Gudu that night in 1986 to bring him along on a train ride to look for work. As Gudu went to find the job, Saroo waited and fell asleep on a bench at the station. It was the last time he ever saw his brother.
And so I stood up, looking to the left, looking to the right. There's a train in front of me there at the station. Whether it's the same one that I came on or a different one, I'm not too sure. But, you know, he was nowhere to be seen.
Gudu?
And so I boarded the carriage from the platform, thinking that he was in the carriage, or he might have been, you know, another carriage. So irrational, his thoughts.
Right, for a 5-year-old.
Yeah, for a 5-year-old. That's basically what a little 5-year-old was thinking at that point in time. Life's such a paradox and enigma, and things just happen in ways that they do which are unexplainable.
So you travel on that train, was it 2 days? About almost 1,000 miles. But when you arrive in Calcutta, there's a sea of people trying to get on the train. Do you still think maybe I'll find my brother here? Maybe my mom will come find me in the station?
I was so scared. You know, it was such an alienating place. I've never been here before. So many people, and all I wanted was my brother and sister and my mother. Salvation and solace. I cried heaps. I fell on my knees, and I just hoped that someone would help me. But you know, I didn't think anyone cared, because you're just a street kid. It was extremely hard. But I think the great thing about human beings is that we fall, but we learn to pick ourselves back up.
Lost and nearly 1,000 miles from home, Saroo lived alone on the streets of Calcutta for 3 weeks. There were moments of hope that turned out to be dangerous false glimmers.
A railroad worker actually approached me and asked, you know, where you're from, and I told him that I'm lost, and he said, come with me, I'll help you. I was really hopeful, you know, that number one, there's shelter. There's a person that is stating that they can help me get back to my family. There's food as well. This person came the next day, and I sat next to him. And then, you know, that situation turned a little bit different, where it sort of, my stomach curdled a bit, and I felt that, you know, this isn't right. And at that point in time, I'm just like thinking this is the right time to go.
The little boy ran for his life. Soon after, he was picked up by a stranger who delivered him to a center for abandoned children that was run like a juvenile prison. As you moved later into the orphanage with the other children, at any point along the way there, had you given up hope that you were going to find your family again?
I didn't know what to think. You've been living on raw nerves, just trying to survive. At that point in time, hell on earth, that place was it.
But that hell on earth turned out to be Saroo's salvation. The orphanage found an Australian couple who wanted to adopt him.
Hello there.
Hello. Yeah, that's for you.
From the filthy streets of Calcutta, Saroo was sent to a comfortable life in Australia. Even as he grew up with the adoptive parents he loves, the hole in his life remained.
Those memories of my past is the key to returning back home. And it's all I have. If I lose my memories of my past, then there was no way of getting back home. It was a treasure to me when I went to sleep. You know, those memories of my past were revisited.
What were you dreaming about?
Thinking about my sister and hoping that, you know, she's still alive, she's eating well. I'm hoping that my mum's okay as well. You know, she's looking after herself and, you know, alive. I think in essence, that's what I sort of dreamt about a lot is to have that sort of reuniting with my family again.
Something you've been dreaming about your whole life.
Yeah.
At the age of 27, Saroo began the search for the family in India he'd been dreaming about.
I decided to do something about it because I couldn't stand living another day.
Have you heard of this new program, Google Earth? It's incredible. You can find any place from anywhere.
Armed only with a 5-year-old's crystal clear memory of a train station, a white water tower there, and a series of Indian town names he'd been pronouncing incorrectly all his life, Saroo opened his laptop and began to look for his past. He set up something of a war room in his apartment. For 4 frustrating years, he used Google Earth to click and search for home. So tell me about the real life moment, the moment that gives you chills in the movie when you spot that configuration, including the water tower, and you zoom in and you zoom in and you zoom in and you say, that's it.
I closed my eyes at that point in time and I said, please God, let me just one last time see my family again. I zoomed down on this train track and scrolled and scrolled and scrolled, and I thought, you know, this looks something familiar. And so I zoomed in and I saw the water tower, and I'm just like, is this a dream? Is this, you know, is my mind playing a game? That was such a pivotal moment in my life.
With the blessing of his Australian parents, Saroo traveled back to India with no idea what or whom he'd find 26 years after he'd vanished into the streets.
The amazing thing about it is that if there's such thing as muscle memory, then it exists, because my legs had memory of how to navigate through, you know, the nooks and crannies in the streets to get back to my suburb. And it was so amazing.
Can I help? I used to live here. Just come.
His mother never moved from the family's neighborhood, hoping someday Saroo would return.
Time and the earth stood, well, for me, stood still.
The reunion was bittersweet. Saroo learned that his big brother and his hero, Gadu, had been killed by a train. That same night, the two had separated.
2 boys left and 2 never came home.
This is my mother, Kamala.
Hi.
Kamala, this is my mother, Sue.
His birth mother overjoyed that one of her boys had come home, and grateful to the Australian mother who saved him. Saroo visits his mother, his sister, and his brother in India regularly. Now a successful businessman, Saroo bought his birth mother a new home. With the popularity of Lion and of Saroo's book on which the movie is based, he tells me there's now another book about his 2 moms, and a stage play about his story in the works too. And who knows, maybe another movie. Saroo is harnessing all this attention for good with the help of the Weinstein Company and Seesaw Films. Their Lionheart campaign has raised $270,000 to help the more than 80,000 children like Saroo who go missing in India every year. To hear Saroo talk about the emotional experience of watching the movie for the first time with his biological mother, check out our web extras at today.com/Sunday.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.